Hello everyone. Let us see the next topic, that is in implementing an undo operation. In the undo operation, uh, we have come across this undo operation in most of the applications, and we have seen some of the concepts like sequence diagrams, use case diagrams in the previous video, and that too in the MVC, that is Model View Controller. Some of the issues which are being addressed over here, and how the undo operations are taken place, and how many different types of undo operations are there, single level and multi-level. Undo and redo operations are one and the same. Not all things can be undoable, because you cannot undo all the operations what you have done in the certain applications. Blocking for further undo or redo operations, you can block the undo operations. To why? Because since not all the things can be undoable, and even you can restrict your undo operations to a certain steps like 2 3 and all, and solution should be efficient. So taking these care, what all the issues comes to you, so that is taken care, and that is being implemented. Create a stack for storing the history of the operation. So like a buffer which stores an information, a stack also stores an information. So how the stack, or the feature of a stack, everybody know it has one end wherein you are inserting an element and you are deleting the element from the same end. In the same manner, a stack needs to be a stack is used for storing the operation. For each operation, define a data class that will store the information necessary to the undo operation. Whichever is the use, or whichever is helpful, that will store unnecessary item. And in most of the applications, that is in the word application and all, we have seen undo operations wherein uh, name, if we are writing, so that name, if at all you undo it, the characters which you have written will be going on erasing. In the same manner, the undo operation also will work. And next, implement code, so that whenever any operation is carried out, the relevant information is packed into the associated data object and pushed into the stack. If at all you are performing an undo operation, that will be pushed inside the stack. Implement an undo operation, undo method in the controller, that simply pops the stack, decodes the popped data object, and invokes the appropriate method to extract the information and performs the task of undoing the operation. So here, a task of undoing is performed by making use of a stack operation. Uh, some of the elements will be, some of the items will be inserted onto the stack. If you perform an undo operation, the most recent one will be popped up and it will be shown to you. So that much is the undo operation. So drawing an incomplete object, incomplete items. Incomplete items are those items wherein uh, it is there are a couple of reasons why in the drawing program we might wish to distinguish these two items, two types of items. Incomplete items might be rendered differently from complete items. For instance, for a line, if at all you want to draw a line, so when it will be incomplete and when it will be complete, that has to be taken very seriously. Why? Because in an application, whenever you are using a drawing tool, suppose if you are drawing a line in a working window, if you click on an option that is a line option, uh, that is it has to be given a two endpoints. So first endpoint and a second endpoint. If you click on a first endpoint and if you don't click on a second endpoint, so that will be an incomplete one. And how it takes by default is, if at all a person don't presses the other endpoint, so it will be an incomplete itself. It will be assumed as some fields in an incomplete item might not have a proper values. It will not have a proper values. Consistently rendering an incomplete item could be more tricky. In an incomplete line, for instance, might have one of the endpoints and null. Okay. In such a cases, it is inefficient to use the same render object for both incomplete items. So this is all about an incomplete. Adding a new feature, any item or any software if you take, so that software needs to be upgraded. That software needs to be upgraded. Uh, Assume any software, or even you can take an example of a Windows itself. Windows 7. Windows 7, after that Windows 8 came, Windows 10 is currently running now, and all these operating systems are given with the new features. And in the same manner, a new feature is required in each and every field, and most interactive systems that are used for creating graphical objects. And uh, how much easy you do, that much useful the people will think for um, that particular application to be used. In a system for drawing electrical circuit, a system of components interconnected in a particular way could be clustered together as a sub-circuit that can be then treated as a single unit. So here he has taken an example of drawing an electrical circuits. So if you already seen, electrical circuits are also simulated. One can be done in a system or by using a software. Let us examine how. So when you use a feature, so that feature has to be clearly mentioned. And here you are using the mouse cursor, and you are selecting the items, and the user would select the items that have to be combined by clicking on them. The system would then highlight the selected items. The user then requests the operation of combining the selected items into the compound objects. So overall, what things here to be noticed is, we have studied a concept of inheritance. In a concept of inheritance, what is, there is a parent class. For that parent class, the child classes are there. So in adding a new feature in the parent class is very difficult, and in the child class, just go on using the features of the parent class, and go on adding the new features for that. So in the same manner, here also, whenever you are using an approach of a hierarchical approach, so at that time, adding a new feature becomes very easy in your software. Okay, and let's move on to the next slide. Yes, here is an example of a tree structure formed by a compound object. So formed by a compound objects, adding a new feature. Here a particular feature is being added. In this, a particular feature is added, and here no features are added. And this is a parent class, and some of the features can be added by making the already existing parent into the child classes. And you can make use of these classes for your accomplishing the task. So here this is called as a how many levels of hierarchy is one level, two, three level hierarchy of a tree structured compound items. Why compound items? Because there are more than one class involved in this, so for that we call it as a compound classes. Okay, and pattern based solution. What is this pattern based solution? And pattern, as we saw in the uh, module number 2, what are patterns and how patterns solve the problem. Here in general itself, we can come to know that pattern based solution means a pattern is something which is having its solution, and by making use of that solution, we are solving our problem. And how these solutions help us to solve the problem, because whenever we encounter any problem, those patterns, we see the working nature of that pattern. If it suits our problem, so then we make that the pattern, and we implement that, and we make that solution, and we use that particular pattern. And because of using this pattern based, several architectures have been built. So based on the MVC also, here also, based on the MVC, that is model view controller pattern also, it is a interactive application wherein several actions and reactions will be done. Several actions, how means, we by making use of a view component, several actions will be given, and processing is done at the model component, and it will be sent to the sent via the controller component again back to the view. And some of the examples of this pattern based solution is, for client and server, because client is some component wherein it requests for the server for providing some service to the client. Pipes and filters. Pipes and filters, we haven't studied in depth in this in the pipes and filters, but we can explain you here what are pipes and the filters. uh, Assume that there are two components, pipes and a filter. Pipe is a component wherein it is a connecting component from a one filter to the other filter. And what is the role of a filter? What are the roles of the filter? There is no restriction that only one filter will be there. Several filters and several pipes connecting components are called as a pipes, and several filters will be there. And whenever uh, an information is to be passed it goes through the pipe component to the filter component. And filter components are used as a processing unit, so filter processing takes place. After processing, again that information goes to the second filter for processing through the pipe. And next, again, after processing the second filter, again it goes to the third filter via a pipe itself. So here I took an example of three pipes, three connecting components, and three filter components, that is three processing elements. So in this way, pipes are called as a connecting components, and filters are called as a processing elements. So in this way, pipes and filters are used can be used also as a pattern based solutions. So in this way, uh, these are called as a these are some of the examples of our pattern based solutions. That is, next may be a master slave pattern also. Okay, master slave pattern, pipes and filter pattern, blackboard pattern. So these are some of the patterns which may even be studied with an example, like how I have given an example of a client server and a pipes and filter. Pipes and filter, here the diagram is not meant for you, but it can be understood by how the explanation I have given for the pipes and filter. So with this, let me conclude here, and uh, if there are any doubts, then let me know those doubts and let me clarify those doubts. Thank you.